Look behind me here. 8, 9 foot in the bushes. You would think it'd be perfect. We're gonna bypass those. Last week I was out here fishing. Every bush had a fish in it. So much fun flipping. I literally fished for 30 minutes this morning and never had a bite flipping. What happens is a lot of times those bushes will sour. They've been in the water, you know, we've been had high water for 2 or 3 weeks now. Those bushes will kind of sour and those fish will move. Well, when they move, they're gonna go one spot. It's June, they're gonna go to offshore. So we're gonna go offshore fishing today. We're gonna use the Garmin's, gonna show you how to find them, where they set up at. Then I'm gonna show you how to catch them. So first thing we're going to do, you know, we're going to start idling and look for schools. The lake is 10 foot high. You can see right here on contour. We should be sitting in, you know, 4 or 5, and it's 12. The lake is actually 10 foot high. So we're going to go in here, water, lake level, and we're going to add 10 feet. Oh, plus 0, 0, back 1, plus 10. Done. We're just going to do it for one day. So see how it changes that? You know, anything that's kind of irregular. This is actually a saddle between a couple of islands. That's one thing about offshore fishing. It may take, you know, you may have to do some idling to find them, but once you find them, it's a lot of fun. So you just got to have confidence that if you keep moving, I mean, there's no use fishing until we see them. You know, we're not fishing stumps or anything like that. We're fishing open water. So until we find them, we're going to idle. One thing you want to look for whenever you're like offshore, you're scanning, is how these fish set up. So I can look right here on down view. A lot of these out here that's real thick and tight to each other are white bass. You know, I always use the word personal space. They don't want their they're just on top of each other. Bass wants his personal space. You can look right here, these bass are actually shallower. And then you get out here, you know, like 22, and it's all, you know, a lot of that's white bass. There'll be bass mixed in with it, but right there is your bass. You know, they're up there. They kind of got their own little area, and then out here these white bass, they're just stacked on top of one another. There's some right there, kind of that triangle. You can look back on that and see, you know, nothing, and there's like 15 yards of a bunch of fish. There's actually some right here too. I think I got 2. No, this one. So typically when I first find a school, like I idle over and mark that school, you know, it looked like there was 15 or 20. I like to throw a crankbait in there. You know, this is a BD7 first to kind of try to locate that sweet spot. You know, once I get them going with this and they die down, I'll switch to, you know, like a big worm or a swim bait or something. Key is, the biggest key, if anything, you need to get right back in there. Same spot. A little bigger. All of these fish were literally in the bushes days ago. And when they decided to leave, they left. You want to try to reel that thing like as fast as you can without overrunning the bait. It's gonna come up soon, right there. And that's when you know you got the right color on, when they're hitting it across their face like that. Fast as you can get back in there. Like if they'll bite the crankbait, I can just cover, I can cover a lot more water. It's whenever, that school gets used to that bait, whenever you want to switch, and they're not used to it yet. This feels like a white bass. Same spot. He felt a lot bigger than that. I mean, I ain't dropping, but they're still getting the bait like across their face. I've kind of like played around with, how big of the area is, and it's literally one cast. When they quit biting, one of three things happens. One, either you've caught all of them, which we didn't. Two, they've moved, and according to live scope, they haven't. Or three, they're just used to your bait. So I'm gonna make 2 or 3 more casts with this crankbait. If I don't get bit, I'm gonna pick up a swim bait and see if we can't trick them again. The key with this crankbait, if anything, is just making a long cast, because it takes a little bit of time for it to get down there. Just got to make a long. That's why I'm upwind. I got anchor lock on. Came off. I can feel there's like one little rough spot, right where I'm catching those fish. I don't know if it's the highest point or what. All right, we're gonna pick up a swim bait just to see if we can catch a bigger one. We just want to keep them going though. When they're aggressive, like you want something that gets their attention, which was that crankbait. But there's something about this swim bait bite that with this swim bait, that's a good one. Oh dang. It's a skinny post spawn. They're not far from being off the bank. Not far from spawning. He's still healing up. With that swim bait though, I'm throwing it out there and I let it hit bottom. You'll see your line lay slack and then I just take off reeling it. I want to keep it 2 or 3 foot from the bottom. Every now and then you'll notice I kill it, and that's just to check bottom to make sure that I'm close to bottom and then take off again. What's cool is a lot of the bites you'll get will be, a lot of the bites I'll get when I check bottom. He's pulling drag. That's what's cool about offshore fishing. I mean, you may have some dead time idling, but when you find them, I mean, the trolling motor, I've not moved the trolling motor, and we're still catching them. Like, I haven't made a cast that I haven't had a bite. So you just got to be patient when you're idling, looking. The swim bait's caught the 2 biggest fish. We've tried the crankbait, we've tried the swim bait, we've kind of busted the school up, and so now we're going to do the old cleanup bait. Big mighty worm on a pumpkin head. The worm's as long as he is. He wanted it though. Now this is a 5/8 ounce pumpkin head. It takes a pretty good weight to get this big of a worm, you know, to keep it on bottom, especially in this wind. But it's perfect because it's not too heavy, it's not too light. It lets the worm do the action. I'm just dragging it on bottom. Just something different. I'm gonna make this cast with this worm. If I don't catch one, I'm gonna throw a drop shot in there, and then I'm probably gonna like recycle through the baits real quick, and then we may just go find another school, fresh school, because it's fun when they're fresh. You find out what lives in a school with this bait. Just a young finesse worm, 6-inch. Now it's a 5-inch because I just bent an inch off. 1/2 ounce weight. Like if I make 2 or 3 casts with this and I don't get a bite, it's time to go find another school. You know what happens this time of year is a lot of these white bass, sand bass we call them, they get out here on these points and stuff, and right there is a perfect example. But also I see some, you know, some bigger fish mixed in, 3 or 4 towards the bottom. You know, especially like, you know, some of the lakes like Lake Fork and things like that, you'll see some of those bigger fish mixed in with those white bass. I mean, it's an easy meal for them. The white bass eat everything and the bass just catch the wounded. Oh. Not big, but it's a fish. And we're done. My side hurts, my arms hurt. You know, offshore fishing, like I said, you have to have, number one thing, you have to have confidence in your electronics. Whenever you see them, there's fish there. When they're not on the screen, keep going, keep looking until you find that mother lode. So just rotate through baits and have fun. Thanks for riding along.